Love in the Shadows of the University. Chapter 1: A Library Encounter. Alyssa was a quiet, bookish girl. She was in her second year at New York University and spent most of her time in the library. Her world consisted of the pages of books and philosophical notes. She had never really thought about love, perhaps because no one had ever entered her world to change it. One autumn afternoon, while she was taking notes on a book about romantic literature, a voice from the other side of the shelves caught her attention. "Excuse me, do you need this book?" She looked up. A boy with deep blue eyes and slightly messy hair stood before her. His white shirt was a bit wrinkled, as if he had just come from a tough class. Alyssa stared for a moment, then glanced at the book in his hand, Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. "Oh. Yes, but if you need it first." The boy smiled. "We could read it together." That was the first time she met someone who loved literature as much as she did. His name was Leon, a third-year literature student. Chapter 2: A Slow Connection. Their acquaintance began that day in the library. Weeks passed, and they saw each other more and more. Long discussions about their favorite authors, movies they loved, and even random topics like the best pizza place in town brought them closer. One day, when a soft rain started to fall, they found shelter under a small awning in the university courtyard. Leon shoved his hands into his pockets and quietly asked, "Alyssa, have you ever been in love?" Her heart suddenly raced. How could she explain that, for the first time in her life, she was feeling something she had never imagined? "I don't know. Maybe." Leon smiled. "I think I'm falling in love." Chapter 3: Fear of New Feelings. After that night, Alyssa tried to ignore her emotions. But every time she saw him, her heart beat faster. It was terrifying. She had never allowed anyone into her world before. One day, while sitting in the library, she suddenly said, "Leon, I think this feeling between us, it's dangerous." Leon laughed. "Dangerous? Love isn't a war. But it can be painful." "Maybe. But don't you want to find out if it's real?" Alyssa remained silent. She had no idea where this feeling would take her. Chapter 4: The First Date. Eventually, she gave in. One evening, when Leon suggested going to a small cafe on the corner of the street, she agreed. Cafe was cozy, with warm yellow lights and soft jazz music playing in the background. They talked about their lives, their dreams. When they stepped outside, a gentle snowfall had begun. Leon wrapped his arms around her shoulders and said, "Now that you're not afraid of love anymore, will you let me kiss you?" For the first time, Alyssa answered without thinking, only with her heart. "Yes." And that moment became the beginning of a story neither of them could have imagined. Let me know if you want me to continue the story and add more exciting events.